Greetings and welcome to the Sports Card Ripping Teacher. Getting ready to head into Wrigley Field now. The Cubs are playing the New York Yankees. Yes, I did say the Yankees. I almost said what Pastor Ken normally says, but I don't know. Mr. 95 Cents, legend in the community, always on the up and up. But I don't want him to permanently super glue my raffle ticket into the bottom of his box, but definitely looking forward to a nice weekend against the Yankees. Their fans do travel very well. There will be a lot of Yankee fans behind their dugout, that is for sure, and they're always fun to interact with. So we got the usual lineup for this week. Summer's almost over here, folks. Sadly, we're getting to the end of the summer shows. I know some of you are pretty excited for me to go back to school. Let's take a look at this week's rips. It's me again. I'll be reviewing those Savannah Banana games during the rest of the video. Now we get to it. All right, Banana Ball Day 1 is in the books. The fireman won today. The whole scoring thing is a little bit crazy, but still fun. Sold hot dogs today. You know, everything was kind of cut back a little bit with the number of spots because the White Sox are also in town. They are playing very well, so it's a lot of the same guys. I only worked the one part, so I kind of had to make sure they had enough spots to fill everything. So I was upper deck hot dogs, actually, and I sold 275 hot dogs. That is a pretty good amount. Someone did ask me at one point, how much are those hot dogs? And after maybe I sold a couple first and didn't even look at it, and I looked at the machine. $10 for a hot dog, so it is a little bit steep in Major League Baseball these days, but takes me back to when I first started. I did sell hot dogs a lot of times. Even when I was 21, I chose to sell hot dogs a lot of times because they were maybe $2.25, $2.50, $2.75, and a lot of times in those days people said just keep the change. So it was very profitable to be selling hot dogs. I did that by choice a lot of times. And there were quite a few times. I feel like the most hot dogs I ever sold were, 9 loads. So that was 50 loads. You can do the math. That's a lot of hot dogs, even at that price right there. Derek Stingley Jr., shout out to Pick 6 cards. Very sharp looking card. Ricky Williams as well. And I went back in, it was kind of towards the end of the timer, and I was like, I'll take 30 more. And the girl, she had these cheater glasses on, she put them down, she said, you want what? I was like, I'll take 30 more dogs. And there was maybe 30 minutes left in the game. I think alcohol sales were cut off at that point. She was like, you know you gotta sell all these hot dogs, don't you? I mean, she was a little stern. I was like, oh yeah, I'll take them. And they got them ready for me and everything. And she's like, don't come back with all those hot dogs. 2 is the limit. So I went out there. I'm a seller. There's Packers were on him for a little bit. At least that's what all the media things were saying. Joey Bosa, Jackson Hawes, back-to-back refractors right there. And I came back with 2. And when I got back in, she was like, how many hot dogs you got left? And I was like, 2. Biggest smile on her face. She was like, you can have those hot dogs. Enjoy. I said, well, thank you very much. There's Patrick Mahomes. Takes me back to back in the day. You know, there would be 3 or 4 guys selling them. We would take turns going into the bleachers selling them. Cam Scattaboo, what kind of gear he's going to have coming back here. Mike Evans on the football right there. But we take turns. No, one guy went out to the bleachers. The other guys went out there. When you were done, you kind of went back into the seats. The next guy went out to the bleachers. We sell a lot of them just in the bleachers. DJ Moore. I forget where he went. The Bills, maybe? Yeah, the Bills. A lot of Bears radio are saying they're going to miss DJ Moore a lot, but they are excited about their 2 young receivers. Bijan Robinson. Jack Betch. Yeah, those were the old days, the old cash days. Things were not too terribly expensive for families to go to a ball game. No one in that pack right there. Ben Zobrist, he was, I guess, the celebrity that came out, and he rode his bike from left field, around the bleachers, and then to home plate. And I did a short with the song in there, and YouTube didn't like me using that short or the length of it or whatever. Jalen Hurts on the power players. Will Campbell still letting guys through on the line right there. But people didn't know that part of the bit, kind of had the Sandlot music going on there. But part of the thing was when Ben Zobrist was a Cub, he lived in the neighborhood, and he would ride his bike to the ballpark on pretty much every day. And what people may not realize even more is some days he would come in full uniform. He would leave his house fully clothed for the game and just get to the ballpark. And I feel like with those Joe Madden days where some days Joe was like, hey, get here, American Legion rules, get here like half hour before the game time. I mean, that was a perfect thing to do. Cam Ward and a little bit of Tank Dell right there. So Banana Ball, it was a lot of fun. It's nonstop noise, which those of you that know me really well, I don't like all the noises, but it was definitely fun. If you have any kind of like sensory issues, it's definitely a little bit of sensory overload, so I would be careful of that. Can't wait for Saturday and Sunday. Banana Ball. All right, we're back. Banana Ball Day 2. This one was a day game. It featured David Ross, Kerry Wood, and the kid Ian. I forget what's his last name, but from Rookie of the Year. He was there. He comes back at least once a year to throw out the first pitch, but I think his bit was first, where it was he was in the outfield, and whatever happened, and then he got the ball there, and he threw it supposedly to home plate, and all of a sudden it's in the catcher's glove, and then the guy coming to home slid in under the tag to kind of recreate that scene from the movie. So that was pretty cool. And then Kerry Wood came out first. Huge round of applause. Kid K, I always wish his story would have ended better with the Cubs. And I was always worried about his arm for this thing. And he was not throwing heat, but he threw a behind-the-back pitch. And I didn't have that on camera. At least I don't think I did. I'll put those videos at the end of this one as well. But it was a perfect lob strike. And if you know Kerry's history, I was a little bit worried that that would hurt his arm, but it did not. And he had all the same mannerisms he had as a pitcher. The taking off the hat, the wiping, putting it back on, and all those things. Like, it was vintage Kid K, so that was good to see. All right, what do we got first pack here? Oh, we got an autograph. Look at that. A Marion Hampton autograph on the hash marks right there. There we go. Helmets and hash marks. Probably like that one right there. Marion Hampton. All right, pretty nice start right here. We've been cold of late. David Ross, he came out next, and he's a beloved Cub. only a couple years with them. John Lester's personal catcher. His last at bat in the majors was a home run, Game 7 in the World Series. He was also the manager for a couple years, and he was fired, so I feel like for that reason, he hasn't been back much. He did come back for the 10-year celebration. Ashton Genty on the pink. This blaster is pretty decent here, folks. We could have something coming up here. But came out to a round of applause, and then he took the first pitch, stepped out of the box, which really isn't allowed, I feel like, in banana ball, and took off his shirt to reveal those t-shirt six-pack type things, and then kind of did one of these. And then the pitcher, he did the same, and he was in a little bit better shape than Grappa Rossi. Ashton Genty right there. But to David's credit, he laced a single back up the middle to a round of applause there. Now, people heard how good hot dogs were the day before, and hopefully you watched the Commenting Collector, our collector's chat. Most of it was about vending. I had a wonderful time, and it's all by seniority. And some of those guys, a little bit older than me, a little bit more seniority, the veterans, they wanted to Brandon Ayuk on the play action, Justin Jefferson. They took hot dogs. And what these older guys don't know is you need to hustle with some of these products to make the money. So I don't think that they made quite as much as I made doing dogs, but I took water. And it was warm, not too warm today. It was mid-80s. The sun was kind of in and out. I was praying for that sun to stay there the whole time. But I did 18 cases of water, which this day and age, when they are $8 a pop, that is a lot of water, Drake May. But back in the day, though, when water was, $2, we were like, if you didn't do 20 by the fifth inning, you were pretty much a chump on the product. And we were always doing doubles, sometimes triples. They had to stop us from taking triples. I'm a little bit taller, so I could see over it. One guy, Alan, he's a hoss. He would do triples, but he really couldn't see over the thing of water's barely looking, so they kind of stopped us from doing that. But same thing, we'd all take turns going out into the bleachers, and at that point, it was just a pass out. You're passing them all out, and the way back in, you're collecting all the cash. And when they were $2, a lot of people there had $2, $3, $4, some with 5 say keep the change. So very rarely were we passing out the money, because people would see us on those hot days, especially in right field where I was, dripping in sweat, bringing the water that people needed. So I'm pretty sure tomorrow people are going to want to have water, knowing that I sold the 18 cases, but I had to hustle for those 18. That's the thing. I don't know if some of these older guys have it in them to do that or not. Jim Kelly, nice looking card right there. So yeah, it was, these past 2 days have been going back to my beginnings of vending with hot dogs and water, just hustling out there for the good people of Chicago watching the Savannah Banana. So we got a nice Genty on the pink in this Amarion Hampton Chargers card. Even says Los Chargers. It says, does it say Los Chargers? Oh no, sorry, Los Angeles. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. It's been a long day, folks. Again, working hard out there. There we go. All right, we're back. It is Friday, getting ready to head back to work today. The Cubs open a 6-game homestand, 3 against the Yankees, 3 against the Dodgers. Definitely one of the highlight homestands of the year. I think the Judge is still out. He's no Derek Jeter, as Mr. 95 Cents would say. But last Sunday, Banana Ball, last day at Wrigley Field's a day game. Once again, it was kind of like a late afternoon game. I think it was 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock game. I forget what it was now, but not the traditional 120 game. A lot of fun. Rick Sutcliffe was there. He threw out the first pitch, the Red Baron, for the firefighters. So he came out for the opposite side over there. Had a little mustard on that fastball. Definitely getting up there in age, but it was fun. And got a Topps Chrome Platinum here. So in line, I wanted to have either, it was hot. It was in the 90s that day. There's Cal Ripken Jr., the Iron Man right there. I wanted hot dogs or Matt Holliday, son Jackson Holliday playing, Ethan Holliday as well. And there's a Yankee right there, Yogi Berra. Wanted hot dogs or water. You know, most of the crowd, half the crowd was kids. So you got to sell to your audience. Got up to line, no hot dogs, no water. And I know, you know, they heard about how good water was the day before. So some of those veteran guys, and the one guy that took water in right field hundreds that I had the day before, Ozzie Smith, Byron Buxton, who I'm going to do a national recap. Went to National Graham Thursday and Friday for Graham and I. I did meet the commenting collector. We'll talk about that a little bit. We got George Springer right here. So this is one of the Prism parallels, the gold one right there. And I kind of forget what the numbering of these were, and they are really short printed. So that's kind of the first. You know, we got the retail blue parallel. But anyways, back to the Cubs. It was gone. So I actually sold the banana beer, which was pretty cool as well. They brew their own beer in Savannah. They can do the whole operation there. Bring it on the road with them. Genius marketing. Sold a lot of those. In fact, they ran out for a while, so went back to the 3-1-2, and they brought in some more banana beer to sell. Dalton Rushing. Yoshida's on my fantasy team. Up and down year, that's for sure. But I saw a little bit later in the game the guy that was selling the water in the hundreds, and I kind of saw him when he first went out, because he said he hadn't sold water in probably 30 years, he said. I think he's about 40 years. He's got seniority there. He's actually a retired teacher. Austin Wells, 4 of those New York Yankees coming to town today. So I had to help him. It's a totally different strapping system, and I helped him get his thing organized. I'm like, you need to have those straps straight. It's like, I should be okay. And then the tub they come in was just kind of leaning sideways, like, you got to straighten those straps up, like I said. And I said, you know, you probably got to be taking doubles once the game starts. And I did see him. He looked like he would be willing to trade me to go back to selling beer in the 200s. There's Paul Skeens. Because I sold probably about the same amount on beer that I did water the day before. Now, if it was a hot day, that 90-degree day, I bet I probably would have sold about 30 loads of water. Got a Roberto Clemente. This is the old 3-hit pack. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And there's our Lars Newbar on the retail blue right there. Shout out to God is Great and the kids. Konnichiwa. They're big Lars Newbar fans. Jason Dominguez. Oh, I always like these. Mike Trout. Got Nolan Ryan on the back right there. So overall, outstanding time with the Savannah Bananas. I can see what people like it. Non-stop entertainment. I like my quiet throughout the day, so I wasn't used to that, but it really doesn't bother me. So you kind of like sensory issues. Man, this is a 4-hit pack. Yeah, we got 4 numbered cards here. Got a Robin Yount for those pesky Brewers, and Aaron Nola for the Philadelphia Phillies. Shout out to Nikki 2 times right there. Sharp looking card. I like that logo with the bell right there. And Gurriel Jr., so that'll wrap it up. Yeah, just 3 fun days with the Savannah Bananas. If you get a chance to see, if you have no like sensory type issues, if you do, I would maybe stay away, watch it on TV or see it on TV to see how you like it. Gotta hydrate with a little bit of coffee this time of day. So anyways, I gotta get cleaned up here, get ready for Cubs versus Yankees. Mr. 95 cents, we're coming for you this weekend, buddy. Back to friends on Monday. Class is dismissed.